Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about some friggin' books. So this is gonna be my recent wrap up. There's only actually, I kind of wasn't sure if I was gonna do one right now because there's 4 books, but one of them I DNF'd, and I've talked about 2 of these books. Actually, I've talked about 3 of them already. So I don't, but I just want to get it out of the way. I have a couple of them that are done that are just sitting around waiting for me to do this video. So I'm gonna do it and get them out of the way. Okay, the first book on this recent wrap-up is Jane Steele, which again, I have the image because I still have not picked up a copy. As you may know, if you watched my individual review of this book, I loved it. I gave it 5 Pusheenacorns. It was a 9.0 on my 1 to 10 scale. Pretty good. Yeah, you can check out that individual review if you want to hear more. I read some quotes, some of my favorite quotes from the book. I loved that writing style. The next one on this list I did chat about in my recent, it was a recent video, my least faves and faves so far for the year. This one was one of my least faves, Saints and Misfits by S.K. Ali. I gave this 3 Pusheenacorns, 5, I ended up adjusting it a little bit from the last time I talked about it, and I gave it 5.0 on my 1 to 10 scale, so very middle of the road. I will say that I still recommend this book, especially if you like YA contemporaries. I recommend this book. I appreciate this book being out in the world because it is diverse. It is own voices. The author is a Muslim woman and the main character is a Muslim girl, and she experiences, it's in the synopsis, I think. It's not necessarily in the synopsis, but very early on something happens to this girl. She experiences a bit of trauma, and but she has to keep it secret. The sexual assault is involved, so keep that in mind if that is something that bothers you. It's not explicit, and it's not it sounds so weird to give levels of sexual assault. It's not rape, I'll say that. There is an attempted rape and still a sexual assault, but not an actual rape. But still, just good to know in case stuff like that bothers you or upsets you or, triggers, if that's the word you want to say. Keep that in mind. But it is very cool that this book is out there. It touches on some serious topics, and we have a main character who's Muslim, which you don't see a ton. I'm starting to see it more the last year, and coming this year, a lot of new novels coming out. And that's really cool. So I still recommend it. YA contemporary just is not my jam. And I buddy read this with Ren over at A Bookish Balance, and the buddy read was a lot of fun. I just love her. She's precious. And I think she felt kind of similarly. She might have liked it a little bit more than I did. But my biggest issues with this were that there were a few times where I just didn't like the main character. Her behavior. I get that she's a teenager, and I think that's why it's hard for me to connect with YA contemporary, because I just feel like I didn't act like this as a teenager. I'm not saying I was insta-love. I for sure acted like that. Stupid crushes on boys. I get that. I've been there where I was like, I love him. Oh my God. We're going to get married and have children and have a perfect life together with a boy that I talked to 5 times. But this girl, she experienced something bad, right? That nobody knows about. And the person who assaulted her and attempted to rape her is part of her community, right? Part of her Muslim community. And nobody knows that this person did this to her. So all people know is who this guy, the front he puts out there, and everybody thinks he's great. And obviously, this is frustrating for her. I get that, for sure. There was a character who was doing nothing but being nice to her. This guy was just the sweetest. He's a fucking cinnamon roll, and he's just trying to be there for her. He actually kind of suspects that this might have happened to her and suspects who did it. And when he wants to talk to her about it and opens up to hey, I'm here for you, she is a bitch to him, and it just really bugged me. And then there was something with the plot. There was a whole scene that could have been really cool. It was kind of ramping up to be this really cool scene. and then it was completely pointless. I feel like it made the story weaker, having this whole like little subplot and scene, this one scene in particular in the book. Like, it just kind of made the story weaker for me. I didn't hate the book, but it was just very for me. And again, I would still recommend it if you like YA contemporary. You'll probably really like it. And I'm still very glad that this book and other books like it exist in the world, because they need to. Representation matters. So, moving on, I also finally read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And I'm going to do a separate video for this because I'm doing my Harry Potter first read as an adult whole series. So I'll just briefly say, so far this is my favorite. This one and Goblet of Fire are probably my favorite movies of the Harry Potter, franchise. I ended up giving this book 4 Pusheenacorns, got a 7.25 on my 1 to 10 scale. I'll talk more about this in the individual video for that. And then the fourth one, which is the one that I DNF'd, which I also have talked about recently because I did a review of the whole trilogy. That is Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. DNF'd this sucker at about, I still have the bookmark in here. Yeah, like 60%. Yeah, if you didn't watch that video, basically I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone and I really loved it. Like, I think I gave it 4 Pusheenacorns. And then I read Days of Blood and Starlight, and like, it was fine, but I felt like very much middle book syndrome, but like, it didn't bother me. I read through it pretty quickly. I was like, okay, whatever. Interested to see how this all, resolves itself in the third book. And then I'm reading the third book, and right off the bat, I was like, wow, nope. But I kept reading because I was curious about the story. But like, holy crap, this is all, up to the point I read, was literally like 2 days in this world. 2 days is like a full novel. Why? So much exposition, so much, especially at the beginning. Literally, like, the first few chapters was the characters standing around and thinking about each other and saying the same things, but from different perspectives. Oh my God, I can't. And then we got introduced to a whole new character in this book. In the third and final book of the series, there's a new character with a whole new plot line and like backstory, and it just was off-putting. That was the first chapter, was this other character, and I was like, what, did I miss something? Who is this? I don't know. Just in this one, the writing style didn't sit well with me. DNF'd it, Googled to find out what happens, and I'm happy and I can sleep soundly at night. So there we have it. Those are the 4 recent reads / one that was like a read and then JK DNFing. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.